They looked dapper and in good spirits as the 5 Tamil doctors addressed the world and stated their reports from Sri Lanka's war zone had been exaggerated. At a press conference at the Sri Lanka government's Media Centre for National Security, they said they had been pressurised by the LTTE, the Tamil Tigers, into giving false information.
The information we have provided from there was totally different. The majority of the people were injured in cross-firing and when people were trying to come into the army control areas. But we were instructed to exaggerate the injured figures, and also those figures were given in a written format.
Sometimes they are coming with a list of numbers, casualty numbers and death numbers. So they asked to give the details.
From the ravages of the war zone, the doctors had reported through the internet about huge numbers of civilian casualties and widespread destruction they said was caused by government forces. They were the eyes and the ears for the world as to what was happening. They had complained about lack of medical supplies and food.
We don't have any antibiotic and drug source. We several times inform our government, but government not willing to send any medicine here.
Now, apparently this was all made up, but their reports provoked anger in the Sri Lanka government, which dismissed the allegations as propaganda. Their journey from the combat zone to the press conference comes after 6 weeks of government detention, during which some Tamil sources claimed they had been tortured. This is denied by the doctors, who say they have not been forced to recant their stories. There are, however, some lingering doubts.
Well, I find it rather unusual, the circumstances around the press conference, but not all that surprising, given the fact that the government has tried very, very hard to control all the information coming from the war zone, anything about the final stages of the war, and so it's not particularly surprising that they would bring these doctors out and present them in a scripted press conference.
One area which is now creating speculation is over the numbers of civilians who were killed, especially in the latter stages of the war. There had been suggestions that many were killed by shelling from government forces.
During that time, LTTE fire began the civilians. During that time also a lot of civilians got injured and a lot of people died. So due to that, they in the whole that around 4 months, we received around 300 to 350 dead body, and the casualties also around 600 to 650.
The United Nations has stated that towards the end, 7,000 civilians were killed, a figure it is standing by despite the new claims of the doctors. No independent observers have been allowed into the former war zone to conduct an investigation into either shell damage or the numbers who died. In February, the UN had reported that a hospital had been shelled, a fact supported by the International Red Cross, which said 9 people had been killed in the attack. Both organisations had staff in the combat zone. However, the doctors told the press conference the hospital had not been shelled and the UN and Red Cross were wrong. The 5 remain in detention and are possibly facing charges of collaboration with the Tamil Tigers. Recanting their claims may be an attempt by them to avoid those charges. Intrigue and controversy continue to cast a shadow over events in Sri Lanka. The fighting may have stopped, but some say the propaganda war continues. Tony Bertley, Aljazeera.